Hello guys and welcome back. I'm going to bring you along for this prototyping video. I've got the PCBs that have arrived from JLC PCB and they look fantastic, but unfortunately instantly I can see a problem with them, and that is that I thought I purchased them all with the SMD stuff soldered on already. Unfortunately these have all arrived without the main chips. I don't have those chips, but what I do have is the old 7-segment displays with the same chips on the back. First job is to desolder these four, steal the chips, and then hopefully put them on these boards. Now, I'm really not an expert at SMD soldering. I rarely do it at work. This is just what I do in my free time, so I'm no expert, but let's see how we get on. So to remove them, I'm going to use the heat gun. Now I am going to apply a bit of flux to the chips to see if that helps get them off, because they can be a little bit stubborn. Okay, let's give it a go. This is going to take a little while to warm up. So just going to hold this in position. Got my tweezers. There goes the flux. Okay, I can start to see the solder bubbling now. There she goes. There's one. As that's working quite well, let's get the other two done so we can put some flux on them. Oh wow, that must have been hot. So we can get rid of that. Those four boards can now go in the bin. So next up, I think we've got to tin the pads. Definitely clean my soldering iron. Good. Yeah, let's put a bit more flux on. There we go. We're only going to need a little bit. Okay, here we go. Oh, that's taken to that side, lovely. Now we're going to make sure we get the chips the right way round. Do not want to fit them back to front. So we've got the dot here, we've got the dot there. Just going to sit that on. Bring in the heat gun again. So let's just clean some of this flux up because it is quite a lot on there. I may have overdone it. So there's our chips on, the flux cleaned off. Now this is how I'm supposed to get the boards, all the SMD components pre-soldered on. All we've got to do is fit the through-hole components. That's the 7 segments, the dual encoders, the LED tactile switch, and the standard 12 by 12mm tactile switch. So let's get those components mounted and let's get them soldered on. So our 12 by 12 tactile switch just pushes into position there. Then we've got a LED tactile switch. Make sure the long leg goes in the positive side. There we go. I'll get those on first because they're the lowest laying components. Okay, I'm just making sure that both switches are in the fully down and flat position, which they are. Let's do the 7 segments next. We'll go for green first, it looks like. Making sure that the dots are at the bottom. So I'm just doing a soldered leg at each end. That way we can flip it over, ensure that they are flat, which they are. And now we can mass solder. And that leaves the last component, which is the dual encoder. which really, I was going to say, really was fighting me, but it's gone in. That's it fitted, and all the joints do seem to be fully soldered, all the holes are full. We can trim some of those legs, definitely. I think that's one board done. In fact, we can just peel off the protective film. There's one, there's two. Now we can grab the face plates, and they're in 3 parts. We've got the face plate, the mid plate, and the base plate. There we go, those 3 go together. I've peeled all the plastic off already. Then got an M3 screw, an M3 nut. Now this nut is important because it sets the distance to hold the PCB off the board. There's one. Now there's 3 of these. And I've just thought, I really hope that the holes now line up in the PCBs. Okay, let's grab the first board. Just going to feed it on top. Oh, it's slotted in nice. Yep, so it does fit perfectly. Well, that's cool. So let's add some buttons. So we've got the round button, resin printed. It doesn't actually stay on. It's designed to be loose, so it just pops on. And I think, we need to create, yes, the transfer button. Now to make these simpler for people to print, I've removed the clip-on option. So these no longer have to clip into the button, they just sit over the top. Makes them a lot easier to fit. Just going to peel the back off, the protective back off the button lens. There we go. As you can see, I created a whole bag of them. And now the button lens fits in, hopefully, into the button. It's a nice tight fit, which is good. And now we can put that button onto the switch. And now we can put our face plates on. Hopefully. Okay, so that's not quite lining up. So we've got a problem with these resin buttons is that when you put the lens in, they obviously expand slightly, and because the gap was so tight, they're now too big to go through the lens hole. So I've got 2 options. I could go and make smaller buttons, which I don't really want to do because these are the minimum size you can get away with, really. Or I can go and put this back in the laser machine and make the hole a little bit bigger. As this is just a prototype, I think that's what we'll do. Okay, so the machine's just warming up. Let me find some scrap plastic. Perfect.
I never really know what's going on.
We'll pin it.
Look at me sometimes like all you want to do is run. Hear me out, hear me out. It's all the things you never show. There are the things I want to know. Secrets start in your heart so slow. But if you don't
So here we've got the button. Yeah, that fits much nicer. How about if we put the mid plate on? Not a problem, that's good. We can close this up now. Switch it off, there we go. Head back inside and finish the build. So let's rebuild our panels now. Buttons. Yeah, went in this time, no problem. That goes in. Here goes our panel. Good to see that both buttons work. Let's test the knobs now. So I've made these special resin printed knobs. Really pleased with how these turned out. They look absolutely fantastic. So just got to line them up. They clip on. There's the banana slot, there it is. Oh yeah. That's cool. Then we've got the lenses. Right, before I put these in, yes, that's cool. We're going to turn them over. I'm quickly going to pop round to the storeroom and pick up some tinted foil. I knew I got the scissors out for a reason. Now I need to find my super glue, which just happens to be on the desk. Now there's that saying, less is more. Let's try and not make a complete mess and especially stick my fingers together. There we go. There's one. There's two. We can turn them over. Apply a bit of pressure. We can bring our radio unit back in. On goes my glasses. And hopefully these are going to push in. And there is the front of our VHF Nav panel. I think it actually looks quite good with the resin frames. So this is copying the Gables version of the radio. Of course, now we need to wire it up and test it out. Got some connectors here. Also got, I think, a connector from a previous build. Yes. Our Cat6 connector, there we go, our socket, which means these 8 wires can just be fed in there, and then we can create another one for the top row, and then we've got a Cat6 connector ready to be connected. We might as well put pin 1 in pin 1, give it a quick twist into the hole. I'm going to have to take it all back apart to check the back side to make sure that those cables are properly soldered. But it's only these 3 nuts and the dual encoder knob. This should come apart now. Yeah. And there is the other side. You can see that most of them have soldered nicely. There are a couple that needs a bit extra solder, which is what we can do now. So I have made a temporary case for it. It's just a hole, but it'll make sure that it can stand off the desk and it can be placed now either direction. If I need to put it back on, I need to put the connectors in, so they will go in there like that, and that should make quite a tidy looking unit in the end. The good news is that I'm also happy that the case fits over perfectly. So let's get this attached. We're going to need, of course, some heat inserts, M4. Now I've got some fake Zeus fasteners that I've resin printed. They're not painted yet, but it'll give you the idea of what I'm going for. There we go, that goes on there like that. So that's what it's going to look like. If you give me 2 seconds, I'll start the computer up. We'll connect this to an Arduino and see how it looks. So just before we jump on the computer and program this thing, we can use our interface module box that we created in the last video. That's there. Because we know what is connected on each of the 4 ports there to which pins go on the Arduino, it makes connecting these cables to the VHF unit very simple. Now the cables look a bit messy because I've not tidied them up and they're not cable restrained at the moment. That's because I like to use the cables for different things. They're connected in the back. We've got the 2 Cat6 ports. We'll put that there. All we need is a USB cable to go on there. Let's do that now. Let's plug our USB cable into the Arduino. There goes the computer, it's recognised it. So here we are guys, we're sat at the computer and the very first thing we're going to need is MobiFlight. So let's pull that onto the screen. And as always, we need to tell MobiFlight what we've got connected to our Arduino. And the very first thing we've got connected is obviously the 7-segment displays. That's going to be there. Now because I know what pins are on the port, I've already got them written out. And DIN is going to be 28. There's 28. Chip select is going to be 31. There it is. And the clock is 30. We've got 2 digits. Yeah, we've got 2 displays. Or have, yes we have, yeah. Got myself confused there. Okay, we need a button. Add device button. That's going to be pin 14. And that's going to be the transfer button. Okay, and then finally we've got 2 encoders. We've got the outer and the inner. Yep, 2 encoders. So let's put them on. Encoder. And for me that's pins 26 and 27. 26 and 27. That is going to be the inner encoder. So we'll just put in. There we go. Another encoder required because it's a dual encoder. Yeah. That's going to be the outer part of the encoder. And we are 32 and 29 on those pins. 39 and that's what have I said? Sorry, that's 32 29, got it the wrong way around. 32 29. There we go. Upload. Great. Cool. So now that we've got our devices listed, we can close that. Make sure we're on the Outputs tab. And we can label this as the nav1 active display. Yeah. I'm going to hit the edit line. We need to program it. And let's move MobiFlight to one side. Oh no, it's having issues. There we go. Let's bring in, right, this page here. Now this comes with FSUI PC 7 and it's the offset list for the flight simulator. So all I'm going to do is press Control F and I'm going to type in nav1 frequency. In fact, it's already come up there straight away. So we can see that the offset is 0350. It's 2 bytes and it's in binary coded decimal BCD format. And the one is assumed. Okay, so the leading one is assumed. So let's see how we're going to do that. Let's hit FSU IPC on MobiFlight. Let's put in 0350. We know it's 2 bytes. It also said it was BCD. So that's it programmed. Let's head over to display. And it's going to be the display module. It's going to be number 1. And it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It is going to be reversed because it's my PCB. I've just tapped the mic, which means it probably thumped it. Let's hit test and see what happens. 100,000. That's good. We've got no decimal point, so let's put the decimal point in. Stop. Test. There it is. So that's all reading correctly. Let's hit OK. Let's bring in ProSim. So this is the config panel. This is the system that hides, and this is, we can see, let me put it there. So we can see that our nav display, it's all fully active. There we go. So nav 1 is 109.6. We've got to program ProSim, so we've got to tell it that we're using the offset 350. Configuration. It's going to be, opens up a new screen, brings up this screen here. Combine config, navigation, and it's a numerical. And this should have the offset in there already of 0350. There it is. And we can also see that the offset for the standby is also there. That's assigned, so let's just change that to 16-bit unsigned. There we go, both 16-bit unsigned, 0350, 50. Okay. Now it's unsigned because we don't have a negative figure. Hit OK. ProSim is there, so we've still got 101. We just transfer that. I don't like seeing the hundreds, and just change that randomly. Okay, let's hit run on MobiFlight and see what we get. So we get 176.00, which is correct, but we're looking for 117.6. So we're going to hit the edit line again, and this time we're going to modify. We're going to add a modifier, we're going to transform, and then we're just going to put plus 10,000. So we can add a 1 to the front. I hope this is right. It's been a long time since I've done this. Going to hit OK. Oh, it looks good on there, and it looks good on the radio. Oh, that was nice and easy. Okay, let's do the next one. Duplicate row. This is not going to be the active. This is going to be the standby frequency. Come on. Standby display. Let's get rid of the copy. There we go. Edit the line. Sim variable. Yes. Okay, so this time it's not 0350. I can't remember what it is, so let's go back to this. And we're looking for the standby frequency now. So, just flicking through all the nav ones. CDIs, no. Nav 1 standby frequency, there it is. And it's got the offset 311 echo. Okay, so 311 echo. It's already programmed in ProSim, that's where I could have checked it actually. It is 2 bytes, it's BCD. Over to display. This time it's display 2. That's all the same. The modifier is already in because we copied it. I'm going to hit OK. And it's displaying 860 from the sim and 108.60 is the output value. That's absolutely spot on. If I bring in the ProSim again, if I hit the transfer button, there we go, it switches between the two. Perfect. Now I don't know if you know, but everything on the ProSim display, I've got the pedestal showing you here, everything is interactive if it's not programmed, okay? So as soon as you program it, it becomes inactive because it's assuming that you've got it in real life. So at the moment I can change all the things on the nav radio here, but we're going to do the transfer button next. So if we go over to input configs on MobiFlight, type in transfer button, nav 1 transfer. Wow, I managed to push the caps lock on, did I? There we go. Nav 1 transfer, that's good. Scan for input, just going to push the transfer button. There we go, straight in. it is an FSUIPC offset. Now the offset is I do not know. Okay, there it is. Oh, didn't see it in front of me there, but it's the nav1 swap, which you can see there, highlighted there. So it's the offset of 3123. 3123. It is 1 byte, and more importantly, it's bit 1. So this time we've got to select bit 1, clear all, bit 1. Okay. And set value 1. So when we push it, it adds a 1 to say it's on. On release, got to do the same again. FSUIPC 3123. Enter the mask, clear all, set 1. Okay. Set value this time. So when you release it, you turn it off, and that's going to be a big fat 0. 0, it goes in. There we go. Transfer button. Now that I don't think is going to work. Oh, it does. Okay. That has taken me by surprise because I didn't think I programmed it in ProSim. Let me have a check. Right, so ProSim, configuration, combine config, nav. It's going to be a button. This is going to take a little while to load up because there's 277 entries. So I'm actually wondering if we've got to program ProSim anymore. It looks like it's working without ProSim. Let's have a look. No, it can't be. It's got to be working. Okay. So, transfer. nav1 pushed. It's definitely not connected, but it works. Okay. I wasn't expecting that. I don't know why it's working because there's no offset in there to tell it it's working. It must be reading it directly from the sim. So if I was to select the transfer button in, yeah, that is bizarre. Okay. Well, there you go. Don't need to program ProSim on that one. Let's do the encoders next. Encoders. Right, nav1 inner shaft. Okay, so outer shaft is going to be 16-bit signed. Oh, it's going to be D1, is it? Okay, 16-bit signed, D3. So outer is D1 because it's 2 bits. As you can see, it's 16-bit, which is 2 8-bits. We can't use D2, so it has to be D3. And then obviously you can't use D4 because it's using that bit on that line. So the next 3 offset after that would be D5, 66 delta 5. They're on. So all I've got to do in MobiFly is go for the inputs tab. It's going to be nav1 outer encoder. In fact, yeah, we can just scan for input. We can turn the knob. It should enter it. It has done. It's going to be an FSUIPC offset, and it's going to be an offset of 66 delta 1. It's 2 bytes. Now it's 2 bytes because it's got a minus figure in there. So to make a minus, it needs twice the amount of data. And so on left, it's going to be +1. FSUIPC 66 delta 1, 2 bytes. You're going to be +10. So if we move it fast, off right, FSUIPC 66 delta 1, 2 bytes. You're going to be -1, and then fast right, FSUIPC 66 delta 1, 2 bytes. This bit's just a little bit slow going, but when we copy it, you'll see how much faster it is in a second, and it's -10 for fast. I think that's it. I'm going to stop Mobilefly, I'm going to run it. I'm going to bring up ProSim again, ProSim display, there we go. So, we should see it change now. Oh, it does. So we can go up, down. I got my big fat finger in the way, there we go. There's up, there's down, not an issue. You'll probably notice now that, yeah, so turning it on ProSim has no effect on screen with using the mouse. We can still do the inner one. No, we can't because it's got the data entered. Okay, so you better do the inner one now, and all we're going to do is copy that line, duplicate, change that to inner, encoder, get rid of the copy, edit the line, FSU IPC, but this time we're going to change it to the inner encoder. Going to change that to 3, 3, 3, and 3. Hit OK. That one is so much quicker. That's all we had to do, I believe. And I'm going to stop Mobilefly because it's still showing as outer encoder. If I stop it and run it, it should change. Oh no. Okay, did I not change it? I must have forgotten. Oh no, I did. Okay, let's just make sure it's working. Inner encoder. Yeah. Okay, stop Mobilefly. Come on, Mobilefly. Run. Okay, I'm going to save this. I might have to restart it. Okay, and we'll nail this the VHF1 nav. Let me just turn it and see what happens. Yeah, it works. Okay, it works. I'm just expecting that input to be out. Oh, it's changed. There we go. Ah, I forgot. You've got to change the line over to make it change. Right, yeah. So the input, you just got to refresh the line and it changes automatically. I forgot that completely. Okay, output's good. I actually think that's the radio fully done. So we can transfer on here now. Yep. Got the little knob to change the hundreds or the thousands. That works nice and easy. So if we do it really fast, what happens? Yeah, it changes super fast. Okay. Okay guys, that's it. VHF Nav Radio is done. I've got another one in the making with white digits, so you can see that, but that'll be in a later video. In my hand right here is the new PCB for the interface board. You'll see that in the next video, which I'm about to make. Until next time, sim out. So let's see how this looks. 9 is ground. 10 is positive. Let's put the power on. Oh wow. Now I think that that works really well. Holy moly. I'll let you into a little secret. That is not even full power. That's only 10 volts. Let me... Okay, there's 12 volts. There's 9. There's 7. Oh, good. So at 8 volts, which is brilliant, it's only pulling 13 milliamps.